Chapter 6 of Win Every Argument, The Art of Debating, Persuading, and Public Speaking by Mehdi Hasan explores the role of humor in persuasive communication. The author argues that using humor effectively can help build a connection with the audience, reduce tension, and increase engagement. Hasan begins the chapter by discussing the power of laughter to break down barriers and create a sense of connection between people. He notes that humor can be particularly effective in persuasive communication, as it can help diffuse tense situations and make complex ideas more accessible. The author also cautions, however, that humor can be a double-edged sword. Inappropriate or offensive jokes can backfire and cause the audience to disengage or even turn against the speaker. Therefore, it is important to use humor thoughtfully and in a way that is appropriate to the audience and the topic being discussed. Hasan offers several strategies for effectively incorporating humor into persuasive communication. He suggests using self-deprecating humor to demonstrate humility and build rapport with the audience. The author also notes that humorous anecdotes or personal stories can help make complex ideas more relatable and memorable. Additionally, Hasan emphasizes the importance of timing and delivery in using humor effectively. Jokes that are timed well and delivered confidently are more likely to be well received by the audience. It is also important to avoid overusing humor, as this can undermine the credibility of the argument and cause the audience to lose interest. The author also acknowledges that humor is not appropriate in all situations, particularly in serious or emotionally charged debates. In these cases, it is important to focus on the argument and use a more serious tone. In conclusion, Chapter 6 of Win Every Argument, The Art of Debating, Persuading, and Public Speaking highlights the potential benefits of using humor in persuasive communication. By using humor thoughtfully, with appropriate timing and delivery, speakers can build a connection with the audience, reduce tension, and increase engagement. However, it is important to use humor appropriately to avoid undermining the credibility of the argument or causing offense to the audience. Chapter 7 of Win Every Argument, The Art of Debating, Persuading, and Public Speaking by Mehdi Hasan explores the concept of the rule of three in persuasive communication. The author argues that using trios, whether in the form of examples, arguments, or rhetorical devices, can help make ideas more memorable and persuasive. Hasan begins the chapter by discussing the prevalence of trios in literature and culture, from the Three Little Pigs to the Three Musketeers. He notes that the rule of three is a powerful rhetorical device that has been used throughout history to persuade and inspire audiences. The author explains that using trios can help make ideas more memorable by providing structure and rhythm to the argument. The audience is more likely to remember and engage with a message that is presented in a clear and concise manner, and the rule of three provides a framework for achieving this. Hasan offers several examples of how the rule of three can be used effectively in persuasive communication. He notes that using three examples to support an argument can help make the argument more persuasive and memorable. Similarly, using three different approaches to a problem can help demonstrate the complexity of the issue and the speaker's expertise in addressing it. Additionally, the author discusses the use of rhetorical devices such as alliteration, repetition, and parallelism in creating effective trios. These devices can help emphasize key points and make the argument more memorable and persuasive. Hasan also notes that the rule of three is not a hard and fast rule, and that using too many trios can actually be counterproductive. It is important to use the rule of three thoughtfully and strategically to achieve the desired effect. In conclusion, Chapter 7 of Win Every Argument, The Art of Debating, Persuading, and Public Speaking highlights the power of the rule of three in persuasive communication. By using trios to structure arguments, provide examples, and create rhetorical devices, speakers can make their ideas more memorable and persuasive. However, it is important to use the rule of three thoughtfully and strategically to avoid overusing this technique and undermining its effectiveness. In Chapter 8 of Win Every Argument, The Art of Debating, Persuading, and Public Speaking by Mehdi Hasan, the author discusses the concept of judo moves in persuasive communication. Judo moves are strategies that involve taking an opponent's argument and turning it against them, using their own words and logic to demonstrate the flaws in their position. Hasan notes that the use of judo moves requires careful listening and attention to the opponent's argument. By understanding the opponent's position and their underlying assumptions, a speaker can identify weaknesses and inconsistencies that can be used to undermine their argument. The author provides several examples of judo moves in action, including the straw man, the slippery slope, and the two-quoque fallacy. In each case, the speaker takes the opponent's argument and turns it against them, demonstrating their flaws in their logic or assumptions. Hasan also discusses the importance of using judo moves ethically and responsibly. While they can be effective in undermining an opponent's argument, they should not be used to unfairly attack or misrepresent their position. Additionally, the author notes that using judo moves effectively requires practice and preparation. Speakers must be familiar with common arguments and fallacies and be able to quickly identify weaknesses in their opponent's position. Finally, Hasan emphasizes the importance of using judo moves strategically. As part of a larger argument, they should be used to support the speaker's own position, rather than simply attacking the opponent. In conclusion, Chapter 8 of Win Every Argument, The Art of Debating, Persuading, and Public Speaking highlights the power of judo moves in persuasive communication. By taking an opponent's argument and turning it against them, speakers can effectively undermine their position and demonstrate the flaws in their logic or assumptions. However, the use of judo moves requires careful listening, ethical considerations, and strategic thinking to be effective. Chapter 9 of Win Every Argument, The Art of Debating, Persuading, and Public Speaking by Mehdi Hasan is titled The Art of the Zinger. In this chapter, Hasan discusses the importance of humor in persuasive communication and provides tips for delivering effective zingers, or humorous one-liners. According to Hasan, a well-timed zinger can be a powerful tool for engaging an audience and making a persuasive point. However, he also notes that using humor in public speaking can be risky, as it can alienate or offend some listeners if done poorly. Therefore, he emphasizes the importance of using humor in a thoughtful and deliberate way. Hasan provides several examples of effective zingers from famous speakers, including Winston Churchill and Barack Obama. He notes that the best zingers are often based on wordplay or irony, and are delivered in a deadpan or understated manner. The author also discusses the importance of timing when delivering a zinger. A zinger that is delivered too early or too late can fall flat, but a well-timed zinger can be incredibly effective in driving home a point and engaging an audience. In addition to providing tips for delivering effective zingers, Hasan also discusses the risks and pitfalls of using humor in public speaking. He notes that humor can be a double-edged sword, as it can offend some listeners or distract from the main point if overused. Therefore, he recommends using humor sparingly and in a way that supports the overall argument. Finally, Hasan emphasizes that the use of zingers and humor should be appropriate to the situation and audience. What may be funny to one audience may not be funny to another, and speakers should be aware of the cultural and social context in which they are speaking. In conclusion, Chapter 9 of Win Every Argument, The Art of Debating, Persuading, and Public Speaking highlights the importance of humor in persuasive communication and provides tips for delivering effective zingers. Hasan notes that humor can be a powerful tool for engaging an audience and making a persuasive point, but it should be used thoughtfully and in a way that supports the overall argument. Chapter 10 of Win Every Argument, The Art of Debating, Persuading, and Public Speaking by Mehdi Hasan is titled Setting Booby Traps. In this chapter, Hasan discusses the use of rhetorical traps to disarm opponents and gain an advantage in debates and arguments. According to Hasan, a rhetorical trap is a technique used to catch an opponent off guard and force them to concede a point or make a mistake. These traps can take many forms, from logical fallacies to misleading statistics to loaded questions. One example of a rhetorical trap is the straw man fallacy, where an opponent misrepresents an opponent's argument in order to make it easier to attack. Hasan also discusses the use of false dilemma arguments, where an opponent presents a false choice between two extremes in order to limit the options available to the other side. The author notes that while rhetorical traps can be effective in disarming opponents, They should be used carefully and ethically. Using traps in a dishonest or manipulative way can backfire and damage the credibility of the speaker. Hasan also discusses the importance of being aware of and avoiding rhetorical traps that opponents may use against you. He provides examples of common traps used in debates and offers strategies for avoiding them or turning them to your advantage. In addition to discussing specific traps and strategies, Hasan emphasizes the importance of staying calm and focused in debates and arguments. He notes that getting emotional or defensive can make it easier for opponents to trap you, while remaining calm and clear-headed can help you stay in control of the conversation. Finally, Hasan emphasizes the importance of practicing and preparing for debates and arguments. By anticipating potential traps and preparing effective counter-arguments, speakers can gain an advantage and avoid being caught off guard. In conclusion, Chapter 10 of Win Every Argument, The Art of Debating, Persuading, and Public Speaking highlights the use of rhetorical traps in debates and offers strategies for both setting and avoiding them. Hasan notes that while traps can be effective in disarming opponents, they should be used ethically and carefully. By staying calm, focused, and prepared, speakers can gain an advantage in debates and arguments and increase their chances